Hey, how you doing? Spencer from OG Broadcast. So, I know this isn't a topic that's heavy in the world right now. It's not talked about anymore, but I don't want us to lose fact of what happened. I want to talk about what the George Floyd incident showed us. I'm calling it the incident because I just want to stay neutral to get to the point. Something that there's a lot of things I spoke in my last video about education and how the right education for the right kids from the right people can explain to you how to exist through a situation. Now I'm gonna pop into general police stuff just for like one quick second, then I'm gonna hop back to George Floyd and the things that we can still gather that are still effective out of that situation. But one thing that you learn when you deal with people who are properly trying to educate you and teach you how to exist in this world is how to temper your emotions in light of the police. Because the police are really here to police you. Like that's what this is about. They're here to oversee you and make sure that you don't gather up in groups bigger than they're comfortable with. Not do anything that they think even makes them nervous, which sometimes just existing does. You can't be animated, you can't be excited. So all of that. The proper education teaches you to fight fire with fire. You can't outgun them. You can't do anything. They have the legal authority. But what you can do is close your mouth, let them do what they're going to do. Don't offer them any extra information. Give them the ID if that's what they want, and then let them investigate after that. You don't have to offer anything else. And if you see a problem and you don't like what happened, fight it in court. That may not win either, but that's at least the best way to get home and get out of that situation that you're in when they pull you over. Now, I'm not saying to back on George Floyd. I don't think this is one of those precisely. But a lot of things happen. And without fighting the incident itself, we can look at some of the things that happened out of it and understand how to move from there on. Because that was one of the most loud examples of what happens when black people stick together that I've seen in this country as a 50-year-old man. Like I saw things that I read about and I watched them portray themselves and happen in real life. For instance, one thing that I saw that really happens outright is what you see stick out was structural integrity. Structural inequities. You see, I don't know another situation where that happened with any other group of people, right? So you have cops that come by, whatever the scene, I do not want to hash out what happened. But black guy, voice raised, acting any kind of off, anything, it's over. He goes to the ground. Okay? There's nothing you can do really, I think, at the education, from education that can stop it at that point. Sometimes that's just going to happen. So you see the difference, though. When white people look at that, they don't see anything wrong. In general, of course not everybody, but they don't see anything in general wrong with that. Because he was acting a little erratic. Or he is a little big. He looked a little crazy. Maybe he stole something or exchanged something. Whatever the thing was, they don't see all of the stuff that put that man in the situation. So you see the inequities. Black people understand why he might have been in the situation he's in. And it's not that you want to excuse bad behavior, but I'm not sure that's bad behavior. Like if he's roasted on something, maybe he's just roasted in that way, maybe it would be bad. I don't know, I wasn't there. So I don't know there's a multitude of stories. You could never trust anything you read or see, so I don't actually know what happened. But we understand what could have that man in that predicament and how he could have got out of it. And sometimes we realize that he couldn't get out of it. So those two, again, diametrically opposed points of view are never going to do. But that is something that came of that. We can see that that's still a thing. So anybody that thinks we're post-racial, you know that's bogus. That's something that come out of it. The other thing to come out of it, and there's probably a few, but another thing that I saw that came out of it is police brutality was put on blast. And I remember in the 80s, Geraldo Rivera, did a documentary on Black and Blue. It was called Black and Blue, I think, something like that. It was investigating the Pittsburgh police and how they treat black people in that city. I'm not going to go into it, but that was in the 80s. We saw for sure, without a doubt, in my opinion, I guess I'll say instead of without a doubt, that's still real. Now, we already know that's real. But outside the community, maybe everybody's not completely convinced that that's a thing. Now I think that was justified and visualized and put on camera in this internet age. Something else that came of it that I like to point out is the unity that I saw that came out of this from black people here. Like normally when you think of the black people in the United States, they're like 8 places. And each one, Southern, Midwestern, Eastern, Northeastern, Midwest, all have like a different flavor in the different things. But in this incident, everybody came together. It was insane. It was beautiful. We'd never seen anything like that. The march we had in Philadelphia, you watch it. You saw how many people were there and how gorgeous and uneventful it was. No murders, raps, none of that stuff. No broken into stores, no looting. Straight up marching, saying things, getting attention on the thing. And then you come home and you start to look around and you find out all of the rest of the United States has marches. Some people are doing other stuff later on. They start to looting things and set things on fire. But you saw a unity and a bond there that I had never seen in my recent memory happen on that period of time. And then you looked a little further and you found world unity. You found people in other countries supporting what happened to black people via that man, or just supporting that man, George Floyd. And it's like, it makes you think, okay, stuff can be bad, but when it really gets busted open, when the can of biscuits gets busted open, there's some people that love us. There's some people that care about us and will support us. There's some people who undermine us too. And there's some people that'll go light stores on fire and loot in the name of us doing it. So you're going to have that too, but the support from here, other parts of the country, and around the world was mind-blowing. I was impressed with that. In addition to that unity that impressed me for and towards black people around that incident, there's also a good amount of white unity who's in opposition to our point in the game, our point of view. And that became prevalent. And then the thin blue line sort of community, which extends way further than cops themselves. There's people who walk around with a thin blue line t-shirt on their label on the t-shirt or logo. It's like in fact, it's the people it's the poor people, which blows my mind. They come for you too. But anyway, they support their cops at no end. It's amazing how much you can see things totally different from one side or another. If somebody black says, hey, ease up on the guy for the neck, like you see, he's telling you he can't breathe. And the other guy standing with his hands on his shoulders and his knee in his back, or wherever it was. I'm not even it's not a debate on that anymore. But it's just like, like he said with his hands on his head, like he's superior. Like he's owed this from this monster underneath his knee. And they love it. They were eating it, salivating it. So you can't lose fact that side exists too. The beauty we saw and the support for us and among us was beautiful, but you can't forget that the other side exists too. And it really pulled it out in that case. One other little thing came from it. If you need a little bit more of an example of something tangible that came of it, they did have some police reform in the wake of that situation. So I thought that was cool. It just shows with a little bit of unity and a little bit of challenge, and it does, not street challenge, not hands, just speaking up, speaking as one with volume. We found out that they got a ban on chokeholds now, just as one of the tactics they can use. I don't know if that's enforced, but at least it's on the books, and that's better than nothing. And the no-knock warrants. So something good came of that. A lot of good came from that. And I want us to kind of like think of that, and then think how that applies to what you know now, what you're going through now. And understand, yeah, just take that in and realize what can happen when we stick together. Oh, there's a lot. That's it. I'm going to talk to you. Peace.